My name is Dejine Edouard, and this is the Uplift with Dej, where we'll be having thought provoking and fun conversations discussing topics such as God's love, His power and authority, family, romance, finances, and culture, just to name a few. The goal here is to make you laugh, cry tears of joy, reflect, but most importantly, uplift and speak life into you. So, since you're here, grab a seat and enjoy.
Hey guys, this is the Uplift with Dej, and today I have Erin with me, my very good friend. So if you don't mind, Erin, just go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself so those who don't know can know who you are.
Hey there, everyone. By way of introduction, my name is Erin. I am 29 years old. I guess a little bit about myself. I'm a CPA. So what that basically means, I just study accounting and taxation, and I'm currently a professor, and I am a Christian.
Yes, Christian. You better throw that in there. I love that because normally, right, when we're told to talk about ourselves, our first instinct is to tell our name, tell our age, and what we do. And that's it, And if you want to add a little razzle-dazzle, you might go ahead and be like, I'm a mother of 3, a mother of 5, or whatever. But I love that you said I'm a Christian. And I'm glad you mentioned that because guess what? We are going to be talking about God today. So, guys, Erin is my really, really good friend. I love her so dearly. And I said, who to start this off with other than the one and only? You feel me? Today we just gonna be talking a little bit about encounters with God. And honestly, Erin, do you have the Shade Room? Do you follow the Shade Room?
No, I do not.
Yo, so I follow the Shade Room, guilty. And for those who know, right, the Shade Room is normally a gossip site. Well, it's not really gossip because they're really posting like real life stuff, I guess, or whatever, but it's never really too serious. Like, it's never like good information like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna change my life off of this information. But there was this one day that they actually posted something inspirational, and the post said something along the lines of, comment below the moment that you realized that God was real. Now, normally, for those who do follow the Shade Room, normally people are in the comments acting a fool. They usually cracking jokes. They usually just going in. But I clicked on the comments, and to my surprise, people were literally sharing real life testimonies. Someone was saying they knew God was real when they were on their hands and knees, begging God to heal them from their broken heart, and God did it. Someone else said that they knew God was real when they attempted to end their life 3 times and failed each time. So I was literally reading these comments and I was in tears because it's not that hard for me to cry, first of all. But second of all, it was really touching to see people actually, for one, be real serious on the Shade Room. But also just to see different encounters with God, just to see how each person encountered God. What I love about their encounters is that it all looked different. It all looked different. Some people said they were, some people mentioned how their back was against the wall and God came through. Others got a reality check. Some people had to be humbled. Some people's lives were saved. Some people are expressing miracles that occurred. I love that. And it really made me reflect on my many encounters with God, because it's never just one, right? And I was like, this is just a beautiful conversation to have. I don't know if this triggers any encounters you probably had with God that comes up to mind when we touch on this topic. What comes to your mind? Like, what encounters kind of triggers your heart? Because guess what? There are going to be encounters that you obviously forget, but there are going to be some that you will never forget. And it doesn't matter if it's 20, 40 years later, you're going to be like, yo, I will never forget the time that blah, blah, blah. So what pops into your mind?
I would say the first thing that really came to mind was July 18th, 2018. And I grew up in a church around this time. I wasn't saved. And I remember sitting on this beach towel. Backstory, my mom told me to go and pay a bill for my younger sister. She was starting high school. And then a few of my friends, they said they were going to the beach. So me being a rebel, I decided to go with them.
Oh, it went through.
For some reason, I was just sitting on that beach towel and I remember it. And I remember looking in the sky. For whatever reason, I was like, God, if you are real, show me. And that same day, my friend Tiara, that was on the basketball team with me, she died. She drowned.
Whoa.
And that experience, like, sent me into a state of depression. Like, it was a real dark period. I was always looking at dark quotes on Tumblrs. I started calling myself emo kid, like, having suicidal thoughts and things of that nature.
Right.
So I feel like that was my first real, like, tugging, or my first real encounter with, like, God, are you real? Like, I've been going to church and it's like you hear people saying hallelujah, all those things. But that was really like I feel like that was the first time I ever really, like, I want to know. I would say, aside from that, like, they often say that life is best understood backwards, but it can only be lived forward. So as I sit back and reflect now, and I was at that time after Tiara passed, I didn't know I was depressed. And then after my mom passed away in 2016, I started to develop my relationship with Christ around that time. And now looking back, I realized how God has, like, kept me, like, even from certain situations. A few months after that situation with Tiara, I went to this building in the Bronx by myself. And next thing
First of all, what?
I mind you, before I left, I was supposed to go to basketball practice. I wasn't supposed to go to the Bronx. And before I left, I stole money. Before I left, I got mad at my mom, like, and all of these things. And then I went, and then, like, I had a gun pointed in my face.
Wow.
And I look back now, and for whatever reason, it's like they just turned around, and, like, I think about it to this day, and, like, they turned around like zombies. They just walked up the steps, and I'm like, that didn't make sense. Like, why didn't I get raped? Why didn't I get shot?
Right.
And it's just like, I don't know, but I've just had, like you said, there's, like, many different encounters with God. They don't look the same.
Right.
Like, even too, just having faith. Like, my biggest testimony when it comes to faith, as you know, my house being saved. This house was in foreclosure for
First of all,
years. Like,
before you even tell that testimony, child, that testimony, whoa, it done shook me up. Now proceed.
like, it just showed the power of faith in these past few weeks. I've really been sitting back, like, I don't know why I had so much faith for this house. Like, I don't know. I can't explain it, but it was just a faith that I had. And 2 days before they were going to sell this house, God answered my prayers. The lawyer, he has all of this background and expertise, and he told me basically in, a few words that I'm wasting my time. And my exact response was, I'm going in there with prayers. I prayed. I had people praying with me and fasting with me. And it was just like, you can't tell me that this was not God, like, because there was nothing that I could have did. Even if I decided to reach out to someone and someone gave me money, even that wouldn't help.
Right.
So it was just, yeah, there's just, like, so many different encounters with God.
Yo, you could go on and on, can't you?
Literally, like,
you could go on and on. I remember, like, literally when I saw the post, first thing that popped in my mind is right after my father passed away, right? Like, me and my mom, we were sleeping in the same room for a few days because it was just like we just needed to be, like, all up under each other. It's just so necessary. And she was in my room and we were both sleeping, right? We're knocked out. And I'm having a dream. And I'm dreaming that these two guys are walking past my house. And one of them tells the other, yo, don't mess with that house because their alarm system is crazy. It's loud. It'll wake up the whole neighborhood. Don't even do it. So the guy obviously didn't listen. He broke one of the windows, and a loud alarm goes off. So loud in my dream that it wakes me up. And I wake up looking for the sound because I wake up feeling like I can still hear it. So I'm looking for the sound, and I'm, like, kind of, like, in a daze because I'm like, am I asleep? Am I awake? And I realize, oh, it was a dream. And of course, I look at the time, it's 3 a.m. And if you know, you know. It'd be going down around those hours, right?
I mean, busy.
So I'm like, whoa. And it's like I still could hear the alarm. And the funny thing is, I feel the atmosphere is so heavy in my room. My mom is knocked out sleeping next to me. And I'm like, that's when I realized there's no real alarm because she should have been waking up too, hearing the same thing. Then eventually I realized, oh, there is no alarm. That was a dream. But in that moment, I felt like what was taking place in my dream had to have really been happening in the spiritual realm at that exact moment, because I woke up feeling like it was still happening and it was in that moment. And then I woke up feeling the heaviness in the atmosphere. You know, I don't know if you ever had one of those experiences where you feel the air is thick, you know, it's like you need to pray. You need to pray and loose whatever is going on. Like, whatever is going on right now, making the air so thick, I'm gonna need you to get up out of here. So that night, I got up on my feet, walked around the house praying, asking God to just remove anything that's not like him, anything that tried to break in. You know, I had to set it to flames that night with the Holy Ghost fire. You feel me?
For real.
And that was one of the very real moments. You know, moments like that, I'm like, God is real. How do you not know God is real? You know, when you have like a supernatural type of situation happen like that, you know. And then, you know, on the less supernatural side, right? I've had other encounters with God where I'd be broke. And out of nowhere, I'd walk into work and they're having a party. And I'm like, wow, because I didn't even know what I was going to have for lunch that day. Like, I'll walk into the job and they're having a random party for somebody. I didn't even know the person, but guess what? I'm over here reaping the benefits of the food. And I'd be really like broke that week or that day. And I'll just walk in like, God, look at you. You know, be hungry and everything. And no one even knew. And then I'm able to eat because it was a party happening. To me, that's an encounter, because that was the Lord showing up for me in that moment, you know. Or I'd say there was another situation where I really didn't have bread on me. And my homegirl was like, oh, I'm going away. You could use my car. Mind you, right? I was taking the railroad at the time. My car was in the shop. And I was literally like paying a lot of money. Those who take the railroad know the railroad costs money, right? It costs money, especially during the peak hours. So I was taking the railroad to and from work. And I also had to take an Uber because the railroad didn't take me near my job at all. I would have to take a long bus ride, which I didn't have time for. So I'd have to take a taxi after getting off the railroad. So it was a lot of money, long story short. And my money was going low. Like, it was getting low. After paying all my bills, I was like calculating, and I was like, whoa, I don't have enough money for transportation. And out of nowhere, my homegirl's like, yo, I'm going away. You want to hold on to my car? Like, out of nowhere, we're just on the phone. And then she's like, oh, you know, you can hold on to my car for 2 weeks. I'm going away. And my brother usually has it, but he doesn't need it this week. You can have my car. And this is my really close friend. Normally, I don't take that responsibility of driving people's cars. But this was a really close friend, so it was okay. And I just was like, God, you are always on time. You are always on time.
That is a fact.
I just was like, what I do love about everyone's encounters with God, even though everyone's story doesn't look the same, because let me give you an example, right? While one person's encounter with God might be a miracle, another's might be a breakthrough, another's might be, like I said, a reality check, and another's might be a situation where God is like, you're not in control, and I need to show you who's really the boss. And when I think of that situation,
humble pie, okay?
Listen. Now, who do you think of when you think of humble pie? Like,
I think of King Nebuchadnezzar. Like, I was reading the book of Daniel this week, and man, like, and the crazy thing is, Daniel came and let him know. Like, King Nebuchadnezzar had a disturbing dream. Daniel, you know, explained what it was, and not even a year later, he just walked on the top of one of the buildings. He was like, Babylon the Great, you know, that I created, and that very day, like for 7 years, he went away and he was basically like eating like an animal. And, you know, to the human mind, we'll be like, that's not possible. How can he think he's an animal? That is a real disease called boanthropy. I'm like, I'm like, humble pie. I'm like, God will really humble people. And there's just so many examples in the Bible. And I'm like, God, keep me humble, because it's different for, you know, a human being to take things away from you. But when I strip you, you're really getting stripped.
And he let you know he's the boss. He let you know he's the boss. You know, everybody's encounter is not always peaches and cream. And I love that you use King Network Connect. See?
I call him King Ned.
As an example, because you know who pops into my mind? Paul. Paul was out here wilding. He was out here killing Christians, bugging out. Okay? He did not bang with nobody that said they believed in Jesus, that Jesus was king, Jesus is the Messiah. He said, what? You're done. It's a wrap. He was killing people left and right. Well, not people, Christians, to be precise. And when I tell you his encounter was not no miracle, even though down the line, miracle did take place, because guess what? He lost his sight and then got it back. But that first encounter was like a reality check. It was that humble pie. It was, I am in charge. I call the shots, and you messing with my people right now. I'm gonna need you to chill out. Matter of fact, I need you to work for me. Keep that energy, right? But bring it over here on this side. I need that energy over here. You feel me? I love that story so much because his encounter was different. It wasn't like, you know, that's them stories we'd be wanting and anticipating. It was him just, Jesus was like, yo, what's good with you? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to my people? And literally in that moment, he realized who he was talking to. And he was like, listen, all that, he had to bring it down.
Yep.
He had to bring it down. And as soon as he departed from Jesus, lost his sight. And guess what? When you lose your sight, what happens? You have to depend on everyone else around you. All of a sudden, you go from being this big, you know, you beating your chest and you doing all this stuff. You killing people left and right. But guess what? Now you need help. You can't shower for yourself. You can't even feed yourself. Somebody got to probably feed him in those 3 days that he was blind. And then later on, first it was, so I say in Paul's experience, in Paul's first encounter, I'd say first it was sour, then it was sweet.
And listen, even too, what's so crazy with, like, you know, Saul's experience and, you know, how he converted to Paul, that even, like you said, what one thing you pointed out, you know, use that energy over here, because he was very zealous for Christ. Like, he was willing to die. He was like, it doesn't matter. Even when they were trying to tell him, you know, not to go to Jerusalem, he was like, you know, what are you doing trying to break my heart? Like, I'm ready to die. I'm willing to die. It's like,
no, Paul, and no, I don't think there was anyone who went as hard as Paul.
For real.
So the same way he was killing Christians, when he transformed and gave his life to Christ, he literally was that on fire for Christ now. Like, keep that same energy. If keep that same energy was a person.
Yeah, the Holy Spirit was really working in him, for real.
Working in him. And one beautiful thing that I'm able to see in all of this, out of everyone's story under the Shade Room's post, out of your story, my story, is that even though our encounters are very different, one thing remains the same: the power of God. The power of God. In everyone's encounter, that's the same ending. Everyone's encounter has the same denominator, and that is God's power. Whether we're happy about the ending of the encounter, whether we're a little sour about it, it still ends in telling us that God has the final say, period. God has the final say. And before we close out, one more encounter comes to my mind, right? I'm over here sharing all my broke stories. People gonna be like, dang, she needs somebody to give her $1. But listen, we've all had these broke moments, okay? But one more story. And I don't know if you remember this, Erin. This has to do with you. Do you know what I'm about to say? You don't remember? Okay. There was this time, so I'm going to share it with you and everyone viewing. There was a time, just to wrap this up, where I had no bread. Erin did not even know that. Like, I didn't even say anything to her. And Erin, at the time, didn't have a car yet. And she had just got food stamps. Yeah. Do you remember? So, Erin, do you remember you had just gotten food stamps?
Yeah, I got through with the wick.
And,
The wick and the
and
food.
was it WIC? It was WIC
Yeah,
and
wick
food
and the
stamps.
food stamps.
Yes. And the WIC was about to expire. And you was like, oh my gosh, I need to get a ride because you obviously you're not gonna be able to walk with all those groceries, right? So my cousin, for those who don't know, was supposed to take you and he couldn't. So then you call me and you like, yo, are you available? My WIC expires tomorrow. I need to go to the grocery store. You know, if you don't mind, can you take me? And I'm like, of course. Like, what do you mean? Why not? You know, mind you, no, I had no intentions on shopping for myself because I knew what my funds was looking like. I just was like, of course I'll take you, whatever. I got there, right? And Erin is like, what do you need? Like, you don't need anything? And she's picking up Capri Suns for her son, and she's like throwing extra Capri Suns in there. She's like, this is for Amari. And she's picking up snacks for her son, and she's throwing extra snacks in there. She's like, does Amari like this? All right, we throwing that in there. Like, literally, I said not one word to her. By the end of that shopping trip, do you understand, Erin? Like, in that, if I didn't experience God already, all right, the devil is a liar. If I didn't experience God already, that moment would have probably brought me to God because we didn't even discuss anything. It wasn't like an even exchange, like I give you a ride, you buy me some stuff. That was the furthest thing from my mind. I just wanted to take you. Like, that's just, if for anyone that knows us, that's just how our friendship is set up. It's not like a give and take. It's like a whatever, I got you thing. And I literally didn't discuss that with you. Like, to this day, that experience gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, you revealing that is now like, oh shoot, like look at that.
No, and I don't think I admitted it to you until we were like at the register. I'm like, Erin, this is a big deal because I really didn't have no bread and I didn't even know what snacks I was gonna put in Amari's lunchbox that week. Like, whoa, that was deep. I fake cry right now because that was really deep. I get goosebumps thinking about that. That was like, whoa. I thank God for you. I thank God for that moment.
Yes.
If I wasn't already saved and convicted, that moment would have did it. And I'm just like, wow, God, you always show up on time. So that was just a beautiful story. I had to end off with that. Do you even remember that day?
I know I do. I remember it now. The fact that you're saying, I'm like, I remember that time, yeah, because Goofy was supposed to take me.
Yeah. I want to say that I love you.
I love you too, girl. You're right now.
Thank you for letting God use you that day. Oh, I feel like crying.
Oh my gosh, sidebar, because you already know, you need to remember that time where I was getting prepared for, like I had a son out of wedlock, and like I was really struggling. I remember you were speaking life into me on multiple occasions, okay? And then that time when you came by and you gave me that the $200 for the baby shower, and I didn't even have money, so you came back and you blessed me with that. That was so unexpected. I'm like, what? I look back at my aunt's house. I'm like, Lord, thank you. So you came through in the nick of time. So, girl,
God is so
trust
good.
the Lord is using.
And again, you didn't even tell me your situation. We didn't discuss it. Like, she wasn't even like, yo, I need bread, I'm going through it. Like, it just was like a normal, natural thing. So I love you so much. Thank you for letting God use you.
I love you too.
And I'm so happy we were able to do this. I'm happy I did my first segment with my beautiful friend Erin. Guys, I'm glad I'm able to share my friend with you guys. Where can people find you if they need to on social media?
They can find me on Instagram, 3_ Miss Perry. No, it's spelled regular, MSPERRY, and I'm on Facebook, Erinne M Perry.
Okay, thank you, Erin.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, please stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube, which is The Uplift with Dej, and following us on Instagram at The Uplift with Dej. Have a blessed day and see you next Sunday at 6 p.m. Invite a friend.